All right, welcome. So today we're going to try and make the camera holder slightly better. So what we want to do is add features to this camera holder that can mount it to the Max tube, which is a Vex product that is useful for prototyping, and also to mount it as if we were going to mount it on top of a swerve drive. The main thing isn't to make this part, although it is kind of cool, and if we get it to the point, we could print it up. But the main thing is to sort of show what do you do if you want to include various kinds of standard hardware and design off of that. So that's the main reason we're doing this. Let me go to our, I'm going to share my screen. Share. All right. So I'm in the CAD thing. This is our homework that we're trying to do. We're going to try to make a new part studio, import the first thing, and then we're going to do it for a Max tube, and then if we have time, we will try and do it for mounting it on top of a swerve drive. All right. So where were we? We were here. I just made a version prior to starting the meeting just because versions are free and why not? So this is the interesting thing here. I need to get rid of you people so I can show this. Is you can easily use MKCAD to import an assembly like the this Mark IV inverted. What you can't do is then take this part and get it into a part studio. So I've imported it here, but we can't use it directly. But anyway, that's the second part of the problem. The first part of the problem said we were going to take this part here and we want to add some things onto it that move it with respect to as though there was some sort of a Max tube here. But we're not going to do it in this part studio. We're going to make our own new part studio and import just this thing in here. That is kind of a technique that will help us and keep us from getting too crowded. Is, if when you end up having 100 bodies in one design in one part studio, life gets pretty complicated pretty fast, and your model tree gets to be a mess, and you don't know where parts are and where you modify different parts. So I'm going to rename this one to camera mount basic. Okay, so now we're going to make a new one. So we make a new part studio, and we're going to rename it because we're good citizens, and we're going to call this camera mount Max tube. All right. So the first thing we need to do, let's get some Max tube in here. And as it turns out, Max tube is one of the things that are you can find here. So if I put in Max tube, it just shows up. Let's do a 1x1 by, can I change this? Let's just make it a 6-inch long thing so I'm not dealing with this whole thing. And the offset pattern, we're not going to offset the pattern, we're just going to leave it. So then I insert this part. The offset is if I wanted to have, so notice by having the offset, if I had the offset 0, I could make it oh, what if I wanted my ending to be at some bizarro thing that wasn't a 1/2 inch? But I don't ever really do that in my import anyway. If I was going to do that, I would do it with a feature to do this thing. All right, so having done that, that's a perfectly acceptable place for it to be. I think we could move it, but I don't see why we would do it. Why don't we'll just leave it where the end fitting is here. It's going, which way is up? You know what? I guess Z being up, I kind of feel like the bar is going to kind of, the camera will kind of look out in this direction. It feels okay. We're going to do my standard thing, which is turn these off because I'm OCD like that. And now, what do we need to do? Well, we're going to import, we're going to derive drive is under this guy. We're going to drive what? Well, we're going to go over to our camera mount basic, and we're just going to get the holder. We don't want the camera or the block or any of the other things. And now what I did say was that we wanted to have, if you go back to the homework, right, we want to be able to have it. I want to move the camera, drive into the studio, and then I want to position it, but I want to position it with like 5 variables: X, Y, Z, plus tilt and pan angles. So let's kind of figure out where that would be, because now, so what I was gonna, we could just decide, well, let's put in the variables right now. We could go into the variables, call it XXX. We'll make the variable, I don't know, 5. Click OK. Make another one. YYY. Make it 10. I don't know. And make a new variable ZZZ. And we'll make the Z, I don't know, only 1 inch high. So then we need 2 more. We said we need angle. The angle is going to be I'm not sure which we're going to call it pan. I'm not sure what angle really pan is, but somebody can help me figure out what that is. We'll say 30-degree pan, and then the next angle is going to be tilt. One more. Make an angle and call it tilt. Angle, and it'll be 6 degrees. I don't know if that is, but anyway, now I've got these variables available, and now I can do my transform. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick one of these holes as my, the first move is just going to be a move that will get it kind of right on this hole, but facing the direction we think we want it to be. I kind of want it facing out towards X. So what are we going to, the item transform? We'll grab this guy, the plate. Now it doesn't, turns out there isn't a, well, we're going to do it with a, do it by make connectors. And we're going to use Silver's method of saying, no, I don't really want to use the bottom. I want it kind of facing out that way. So I can use this. Oh, yes. Did you see there? Now I got one. I have to kind of pay attention to which way the Z is going when I'm trying to pick which angle I want. I think if I did this one, well, let's just try different ones. Let's just try, actually, let's try this one. We'll try the one that's the center of that. So if we try the center of that to the center of this hole here, now it lines up the Z's. You got to remember when you're moving, it lines up the Z's. And I think that's okay. I'll flip it. And that feels like it's pointing. Oh no, and I need to rotate it because I want the camera to be facing kind of out in the X direction. I was thinking about that. So yeah, that gets it in the first place. And now that we'll do another transform. And this time we're going to do by X, Y, Z. But instead of having it be numbers that we're going to make up on the spot, we can put in a pound sign. We can say X, pound sign, Y, pound sign, Z. And now, so you see it's moved up. If I take these numbers, if I make it, let me just make them smaller numbers so that it doesn't go so far. So I'm going to make this be 2 inches in Y, and I'll make it be 0.5 inches in Z, or in X. All right. So now the part moved, except it isn't the X, Y, and Z. This is the problem that I'm having here, is it isn't in the oh yeah, that's the 5.5 that way. It went 2 in Y. Yeah, it did 2 in Y, and Z was 1. Yeah, okay. So it is lined up with with this orientation that we have. And so now we could use that. Let me go a little bit farther next because I want my part to actually be 1.5 there. All right. Click OK. What? Hang on. What have I done wrong? Edit. XXX. Edit. All right. Why is it not? Oh, there. Okay. XXX 1.5. Yeah. Okay. Somehow I had gotten into some weird mode. I don't know what that was doing. So now we can then like make a bracket that will build up, that will kind of like build up and hold this thing. But we haven't done the last two things, which is tilt. Sorry, we have to do a tilt and a pan and a tilt. So somebody help me in a camera view. Which way is tilt? If the camera was facing out this way, would tilt be rotating about this way? And pan would be rotating about this way? Is that true? Somebody?
Tilt is
Pan would
like
be
up
like
and
left.
down, pan is left and right.
Okay, so let's do that. So then we want to do another rotation. And we're going to do a rotation. What are we going to move? We're going to move this guy. I think I can do a transform by mate. I can rotate. Can I only do one at a time? I can only do one at a time. So let's do the let's do the tilt first because that's the one that's more natural. So the tilt we're going to say is about this axis here. I think, yes. So the axis we'll pick for the axis is that guy. And the angle will be pound sign tilt. Tilt. How come it's not working? Pound sign. There it is. Okay. And I think when people tilt, they tend to think it as tilt it up. Now, the next problem is I think pan should normally be like about, or the pan angle should be, I guess, about an axis, like as though there was a line here, but we don't have a line there. So I think we can do that. Let's do a little sketch. So I'm going to do a sketch here. And my only thing I'm going to draw is just a line going from that point to that point. Get out. Now I have that thing available for me. I can, yeah, it's there. How come I can't see it? Yeah, it's just in a very dark thing. Okay, so now I can use the same thing we did before, where we say, what are we going to transform? We're going to transform this guy. How are we going to do it? We're going to rotate. And what's the axis? The axis is that line. And it feels like this should be pound sign. Nope, not tilt. Pound sign. Pan, right? Pan. And it feels like it ought to be that way instead of the other way. I'm not sure why, but okay. So now this whole thing, this device here is kind of positioned properly, and we would just need to build up the we just need to build up a block here that we could bolt to our panel, and we need to block, and the hole, we should change this so we know which hole we transformed to. Somehow I want to mark this. You know what? I'm going to, before I do this, let's put a mate connector. I'm going to add a mate connector. I rolled the model tree back. I'm going to put a mate connector. Where is that? That's here. I can derive a mate connector, and I'm going to have it be on what entity? It was this guy. And who owns it is MaxTube. Yep, that's fine. That guy can own it, and I click OK. And now when I do my first transform, I'm going to edit that. and I'm going to get rid of the second mate connector, and I'm going to add this guy instead. And it gets me to the exact same spot, but now when I come down here at the bottom, when I go all the way to the end, roll to the end, I know which one which one is my my special one. It's kind of marked here for me. So now, all right, so if we were going to build up like a bracket that's going to hold this, right, in some way that, would let us put in, whatever number we wanted in this one, and then follow with it. What can people help me? How do you think we ought to, let's make this be 0.5 for some reason. Okay, good. All right, what would be a good way of building a structure from here to there? Anyone? We don't have to do it in one step. In fact, I would prefer it not be done in one step. But what would be some good ways of doing it?
I would start by like making a sketch on I'm not sure which plane it would be, but like the one that you're kind of closest to, like where it would be like at the face of the max tube.
You'd put a sketch on this guy, that sketch?
Sort of, yeah. Whatever
Okay.
plane like goes through there.
Okay.
Because then I'd sort of like sculpt the like mount around. And I don't know if this is a feature on Onshape, but with like Autodesk, you can do like this thing where it's like an extrude 2 and then it like matches the face. So I'd like
Okay.
build like just a normal like flat mount, and then on Autodesk it's like you click project geometry on like both things, and then you can extrude it to like just connect to the camera. Can you do that on here?
So I think you could do it. You can extrude two certain things, but I think, yeah. So I'm trying to think about, like, imagine this thing is kind of loosey-goosey floating all. Somebody could change these numbers and we'd want our model to kind of like still work. Right now, I don't think it would work if they were ever negative, but imagine if they're positive and they're out here. What kinds of things could we do? Yeah. So yeah, there might be a thing that does that, but I don't know. I'm not sure. I think a loft is probably one of your strongest ways of making this work.
Yeah.
But so like maybe what you could end up doing is like put a box here, and then have some place where you can get some bolts. Maybe you have a box that has the extension out. Like can I draw on this? Yes, I can. Because so maybe you end up making like a box that has a little lip out here. That has, and then that so you could have like a little step from there, and then maybe you could take that step and just loft it up to the bottom of this part. Like the once you have that, now my thing isn't moving it, but then you could loft this box to that box.
Yeah.
And then you'd have like something. Now maybe you probably would need to have some additional things, like maybe there's a sidewall you could extrude or something. But yeah, let's try that. Let's see if we can do this. So I'm going to clear all my drawing, and I'm going to go back into mousing here. So all right, and one way of doing this would be to do a sketch, just as you had said. I think I would prefer to do my sketch in this plane here. So let's try that. Sketch. The plane is this guy. I'm just going to go from here to here. Yeah. Yeah, that feels okay. And then I'll do sorry, my that's just in the way. All right, so what would I like? I'd like that guy to be on that. I would like a dimension here to say that maybe this is maybe a 1/4 inch. 0.25. What did I just do? Control Z is our friend. No, I don't want that. What did it just do? Control V again. I was hoping to delete the dimension. So this is the dimension I want to have from here to there being 0.25. There. And then I don't like this dimension here at all. Delete that. And I would like maybe another couple of things to say, like maybe that point and that point are the same, and that point and that point are the same. And then, all right, so everything is black. Do I have the holes where I want them to be? Not quite. So I can put like a hole here. And then I'm going to use, I think I can get all of these this way. Make them equal, hit the E button, and then put a dimension. No, I won't even put a dimension. I'll just say that U and U are equal. All right. And so now if I extrude this, I'll have kind of a block, but I only want to go up maybe a 1/4 inch. Very good. And now my problem is I want to do this loft, but I can't really do the loft because I don't want to loft the whole thing. I only want to loft the part that I want here. So there's a thing called split. So I'm going to do a sketch here. I could actually do a small little like just draw a box here and then extrude up a small thing. But instead of doing the extrude, I could just split the surface all by itself. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do that, do the sketch again here. And all I'm going to do is just take this line and put it there. I'll use my coincident and say this point. That point is on that line and it turns black. And now there's this split feature. And when I split, I can not only split a part, but I can split a surface. So I can split a face to split. I want to split this face. Entities to split with. Why, that guy. Entities to split with. Hang on. I think that should work. Yeah. And so now I've got, notice now I have that face is actually two faces. And now I can do this loft that we had talked about before. Here's loft. I can just say, well, what loft? I want that face and that face. And that is one goofy thing, but you know, for now, I think it's fine. Click OK. And the thing about, oh, wait a minute, I didn't make it an add. Edit. Add. Clean. Did that not work? Edit. Oh, I have to tell it who I'm gonna merge with. I'm gonna merge with you, and I'm gonna merge with you. All right. And so now, why do it feels like something went wrong here. Edit. I think I have too many things in my, no, not you. Holder. Did this already be, this one already got, okay, so somewhere in my first extrude, this one, I had an add on and I didn't mean to. I want that one to be new. And now when I do the loft edit, I can have instead of max tube, I want to have those two things. Click OK. All right, and now I got holder in this, and they're one body, and I mean that is kind of goofy. We probably want to have some kind of a wall or something here in addition. But the beautiful thing is, it wouldn't matter if this magically became 0.5 instead of 1. It's still working, right? If this turns out to be 1 instead of 0.5. And then this one here could be edit, could go to 0. If it goes to 0, things are going to get much less wonky. Anyway, We could have this angle. We could change this angle from 30 degrees to the pan angle could be 6 degrees. And the tilt angle could be 25 degrees. And it still is making everything kind of work out. So anyway, we do need to put in, I think I would probably put in some additional things to sort of make it, you know, be a little stiffer. And also this is kind of a terrible design because, you know, it'd be hard to get these screw holes in and stuff. But it did what we had kind of talked about doing, which is it's a generic holder for this part. Now, again, like this is looking even worse when it does this way because my loft doesn't, I think it's because the tilt is so high. If the tilt was only, say, 10 degrees, it's going to look better. But, all right, so that's the basic idea that I wanted to show is that you could go from, you know, you want to have some part, you want to have additional part, and you want to build something in between, and you want it to be parametric in that you would, you know, this is the camera holder for all ages. I mean, first of all, this is not a great one. We would like it to be better than this and more robust than this, but it's not bad. So now what I would like to do is turn it over, and we're going to kind of do it all over again, but we're going to want to get this part into a part assembly instead of, which was relatively easy, which was getting this part in, because this part let me use MKCAD. But if I go to MKCAD here and I type SDS, there's only wheels. They don't have the whole assembly in here. So we have to do an extra trick in order to do that. So, all right. Are there questions while I'm, I can take a breath.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
So could you like make a separate like sort of like rectangle that like mirrors the one that you want to connect to and put that on the same like variable things so that like the mount moves with what you're trying to attach to?
Okay.
So like you always sort of had to have like a consistent loft.
Yes, that would actually be a great thing. So what you're proposing is that we should go back up here in, so after I've done the transforms, everything is where it belongs, right? But what we could do is we could make a plane that's kind of out here that kind of gives us a nice, robust facing thing. Like maybe we could do, let's see. I'm trying to think of how I think the biggest problem is that the plane is not is that this thing is tilting. I think if we were to build like a little block, go ahead. Yep.
Could you like set all the values to 0, then make the shape with the same variables, and then you could change those like together?
So I think maybe I think the problem is if this is going to degenerate if I put in zeros here, but I think I could put in like one thing we could kind of do is maybe we present we project this plane out to like yeah, I'm trying to think how we could do this simply. Like, you know, I think we could say like, oh, make a plane that's 1 inch behind this one. So for instance, we could say, hey, I would like you to make a plane here. What's the plane? What plane should it be? Well, it should be an offset from this plane. And we're going to make it be equal to how far forward? Well, it's going to be equal to the X position, pound sign, XXX, pound sign, X. minus 1.5, for instance. I have to put inches in there. This is an example of doing this live. All right, so there. Okay, so now I've got a plane that's that's at the right place that I could take and I could project like a surface from like let me just try and do it. Okay, so I'm going to go onto this plane. I'm going to do a sketch. I'm going to project like that wall onto there. So that wall is kind of on that, is now on this plane. I should have done that. I'm going to do it as a, I'm going to turn it all into a, this. And then I could just make a box, for instance, that would be, but I don't want it to be, Control Z. I'm going to, no, I'm going to make a box. This box is going to go from here to here. And it's going to be, oh, you know what I should have done? I should have put in something that kind of figures out the middle of this thing. So now I can use this point as the beginning point for a box, but I don't want it to be a box. That's this. I want to go on to the middle. You got to find the middle. Well, it doesn't matter. I can just, I'm in the wrong drawing box. Oh, that was why it wasn't finding it. Anyway, I could draw this. I can get rid of the old box that I don't like anymore. Sorry. And I can make this be like a 1/4 inch tall. And I could make it be like 1 inch wide. 1.5. Oh, this thing is actually maybe 2 inches wide. Okay. So now, and then when I want to put this, I want to put it on the midpoint so that this point is on the midpoint of that line. And then I can extrude that feature. So extrude, I'm going to add it to what? I want to add it to holder, which it's doing, and I want to go up to face. I want to go up to that face. So now I've kind of got, no matter what happens to my part, I've got this box, and the loft can then, instead of being the loft that I was going to, I could make the loft be edit here. This second face could be this face. And now it just looks so much, well, not better, but I could, anyway, I could continue to do things to make, you know, like to make this guy present something that's always facing nice with respect to the other one. Anyway, we don't really need a generic one like this. So I just wanted to show the idea for now. I don't want to get too far into the weeds. But anyway, you could do something like this, Owen, to give you an answer to this. You could use, so this will move with the part. So if I put out, instead of 4, I put in 2 here. It's going to, it you know, it kind of moves with it because this one is using that same variable. I mean, it's a derived from that variable. In fact, I don't really like how far back this is, so I could go, instead of where I define my plane, I could edit this, and I could say, instead of being minus 1.5, I could make it be equal to just minus 0.5, maybe 0.75. Okay. Let's see what happens then. Yeah, so that kind of got wonky there. No, oh, it's because of this goofy thing here. I didn't, I missed the corner, so it can't be 0.75. It's got to be 0.8. Maybe 0.85. Anyway, there. So then it's less wonky. Anyway, so let's try and do something similar now. I'm going to stop sharing and let's see who wants to try to drive.
I will.
Okay, great. So the first thing we need to do, oh, first of all, you have to share your screen. Cool. All right, so the first thing we need to do is we're going to make a new design studio, and this one, instead of being called camera mount Max Tube, it'll be camera mount SDS.
Is it like a new tab?
A new tab. Yep.
A new folder?
Nope, not a new folder. A new part studio. Okay. So now here's the thing. What we want is a part here. Go to the assembly. We want to grab, I should get my pen out. Hang on a minute, I have to get my pen out. We want this part, but first has made it hard for us to get that part. Okay, so we have to do a little bit of a two-step here. What we need to do is we need to export this part. We need to export it as a step file. So highlight it. All right, and then hit right click on it and hit export. Now we want to export this. If you want to print something, you should export it as an STL, but we're not going to print something. We want to re-import it, and the best format for that is called a step file. STEP step. Okay. Click what's it being called? You have to remember what it's being called. Change it to something, change it to be like I don't know, SDS top.
STS?
SD, Swerve Drive Specialist, SDS, or Specialties. What is the Swerve Drive Specialties?
Specialties.
Top. Okay. Now, as soon as it's done exporting, what it'll tell you, like, hey, it'll be there in a minute. What you should now do is you should go to this button down here again, and now you have to do an import. And wherever you told it to save, there should be that file. There it is. Yep. Click OK. I always choose to put everything in one folder. I don't fully understand the differences, but it hasn't gotten me wrong so far. Okay, and then click import. Now it's going to think for a while, and eventually it'll show up right down here. There it is. Okay, let's look at it. Yeah, that's the thing we want, right? It's perfect. Now, because it's in an assembly, or because it's in a part studio, you can now go to your badly named part studio. First of all, we need to fix the name. Camera mount SDS. Okay, and now we're going to use the derived button here. You can there's nothing else in this, so you could just do the whole thing, but I typically just grab the one thing that I want. Yep. And now where did it go? Well, as it turns out, it wasn't at 0 to begin with, so it's not there to begin with. So let's move it to 0. Let's take and move it to 0. So how do we move things in a Part Studio? We have to use this icon up here. And now we're going to move it by, the easiest way to do this is to move it by make connector.
Is it
Sorry.
XYZ?
If you move it by XYZ, you'll just never get it right on. You want to move it by make connector.
Okay.
And then we should decide, zoom in on this thing, zoom in so we can see what we're looking at. Zoom in really close on this. Okay, now I guess why don't we just call this like the center of this circle right here, the thing that we want to put at 0. So click there, good. And then now zoom out so we can see the origin. And then pick the origin, click. And is that looking like how we want it? Looks pretty good, right?
Yep.
Seems good, so click OK. All right, what was the next step that we needed to do? You remember? The next thing we did was we brought in the camera, I think, right? We needed to derive. We don't want the we click on this button right here. And we just want to bring in the holder. Yep. Click OK. Good. All right, now we need a whole bunch of variables again. Well, actually, let's get it to the right spot so that we, if you were to define this, what do you guys think would be like if you were to say, go to the assembly here someplace. Go to the assembly. So what way should we face this for it to make sense? I guess it should be facing kind of outward from here, I guess. Does that make sense? Like if we were to say, I don't know, I'm asking somebody. So if you were to build a holder for this, what should the holder be doing? The holder should be like looking out like at 45 degrees. Does that make sense? Or should it be looking forward? I don't know. I'm just wanted to, how should we define this?
I'd say like forward, like where you drew that arrow.
You want it forward or you want it to be the long arrow pointing to the corner or the short arrow?
Long arrow pointing to the corner.
Okay, so you think we ought to define it from 0 is is looking out this diagonal, and my blue is just a terrible color.
Wait,
okay,
is the objective to put this on all 4 like swerves?
That's how this camera works. You use 4 of them and they look in 4 different orientations.
I do like pointing like straight out.
Okay.
Like if you were to use like the swerve as an arrow, like the little corner.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So now let's go back to our assembly. I'm not sure which one it was, SDS. All right. So now here's the problem. Yes. Actually, you've done a great thing by turning off the cameras, or turning off the planes. But now we need to see them because I got to kind of figure out where things are. Can you turn them back on?
Wait, is it this one?
Oh, that's the one. Sorry, that's the one. Yes. Sorry, I was in the wrong plane. All right. So what we want to do, I think we want to make the X plane be looking out. So actually, can you roll the model tree back so that all we have is that? Pull it back in there so we don't see the camera. How do we do that? We grab this and we just roll it up to there. Nope, other way. Yep, there. Sorry, go. No, sorry, you've moved to the derive. Control Z, get out. Pull up. All right, so now just grab this thing, grab this bar right here. Grab that bar and move it up one. Yes, perfect. Let go. All right, so so what that does is say, hey, I'm going to roll back time. You can put time back again later, but right now anything you move is going to act like it was going right there in the model tree. It's super useful. Okay. So now here's our problem. We want in the other one, we had kind of front be X, right? So give me a top view so we can see what this thing looks like. All right. So X in this case is this way is X, right? When we defined it before, we had the camera kind of moving forward being that way. So in order for this to kind of work the way that Owen had suggested, right now, that's the direction that it should be, right? So we need to kind of rotate this part around this way, 45 degrees. Do you see what I'm saying?
So like,
This part needs to rotate 45 degrees. How do we do that? Nope, we can't drag it because we're not in an assembly. If you're in an assembly and it wasn't mated, you could drag it around. But what we're trying to do is the only way we can move things in a part studio is to use our, I can't find your icons. They're so small on my page. Where is it? This guy.
the transform?
Yes, transform. So what are we going to transform? Well, we're going to transform this part. Well, first of all, we have to get into transform mode. So click on transform. Now we're in that mode and it says, what do you want to transform? Now you click on that thing. And how are we going to transform? Well, we're going to rotate. We have to change the mode instead of, yep, we're going to rotate. And we're going to rotate about Z. Does it let us do Z? No, it doesn't let us pick Z. However, every circle has an axis. So you could pick this edge right there if you wanted to. Zoom in, and you'll be able to see it really well. Yep, that's good edge right there. Click there. All right. And what do you want to do? 45. Well, it went the wrong way. So pop it the other. No, just click this arrow. Yeah, perfect. Okay. All right. So now roll this thing forward. Roll the model tree forward. Forward, not backwards. Yeah. All right. Now we want the camera to be facing the right way. So what are we going to do how are we going to make that work? Well, first of all, it isn't in the right spot to begin with. So we want to put it in the right spot. So how are we going to move it to the right spot? It just showed up however it showed
Transform?
up. It didn't transform, exactly. Right.
There it is.
And what are we going to do? What part are we going to move? Folder, right? And how are we going to transform it? This is a case where mate connectors are your friend. Yep, good. And so then we want kind of the center of this, the bottom of the thing to go to the center of our hole.
Where?
So first of all, now is the time to turn off your planes because they're just going to cause you trouble as you're trying to pick things. Okay, good. And so then I think the bottom is actually the other side of the camera. So let's try and preserve the bottom. So tip it upside down and pick that bottom. Yep, that's good. Pick that side. Yep, and then flip it back around. Flip it back around. No. Turn the model around. And now grab the top of that same plane that you'd use to orient the part. The same circle, the same edge. Zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in. Pick this edge. Oh, I can't. I'm not in the mode where I can draw. Pick this edge right here.
This one?
No, sorry. Clear all. This edge down here. The circle. Not that one. This one. Okay, so actually you have to pay attention when you're up here, right? So you need to pick it's the from and the to. So we're transforming by mate connector, right? Okay. Clear all, clear all. All right, so the first one, you want to pick the bottom of the camera. Thanks. So you've done that. Good. And then the next one, you want to pick this edge right there.
This one.
Yep, good. Okay, and then now it's in the right spot, but it's upside down. So now we have to edit that, edit the transform again. Edit. And now you need to edit. And first of all, we need to pick this like flip it around button. Flip it around so it's on the right side, the proper side. It should be pointing up in the Z. And is it now? Yeah. Is it pointing up in Z? Yes, it is. It's pointing up in Z, but it's not facing X. We want it to be facing X. So use this little rotate button here to make that, to have it. Nope, that's the, okay, keep going, keep going. There, perfect. Oh, nope, nope. One more, yes, right there. You see, you can flip it. This thing flips at 90 degrees. The other one flips at like 180, like it mates that. All right, so that's good. Now that's fine. Click OK. All right, so now we've got the camera kind of in the right spot, and now we need to kind of build up, or we need to transform it to move it like X this way, Y, Z. You know, we need to transform it and then pan and tilt. Do you remember how we did that? We had those variables, right? So now is the time to just use, yep, to do 4 variables or 5 variables right up here.
Oh.
XXX. You don't have to call them XXX, but maybe you can call it XCam, YCam, ZCam. It's up to you. We need 3 variables that are named something. And then make it be something other than 0, because otherwise it isn't going to move. Well, it's not going to move at all anyway when you're doing it. You're just defining the variables right now. Is it working? What's going on? Sorry, I can't. You're so little. I got to get rid of. How can I can do this. I can pin the thing. Is that what I have to do? Sorry, guys. I need to be able to see, and I can't see. Can I make you guys go away somehow? View. Side by side. Oh, so much better. Very good. All right, so now wait, I can see what you're doing. Okay, so you've got 1 inch. Good. If you click OK button now, you should be able to.
There's like an error here.
What's the error saying? Oh, you can't have spaces in variable names.
Oh.
Okay, so then you need X, Y, and Z, and then 2 angles. Okay. Now we need angles. You have to make that, you can't make them be lengths, otherwise it won't work when it's looking for an angle when you're trying to do a rotate. Yes, good.
So what would the name be again?
Pan and tilt, or tilt and pan.
Mm.
Tilt is up and pan is XY. Yep. Okay. 5 degrees, something small so it doesn't get too big. Okay. And then, yeah, pan. Okay. So now we need to do a bunch of transforms. So The first transform is transform. What are we transforming? Yes, click that, click holder. Good. And then we want to translate by, yes, right, by make connector. Oh, no, sorry, no. We want to translate by XYZ because that's why we did all that work to do the thing. And then the variables are pound sign. Pound sign. Yep. Perfect. Click OK. All right. Now, the tilt we can do now because we have kind of an angle for tilt. We have a line for tilt. We don't have a line for pan yet, but we can do that. We'll do the sketch afterwards. Rotate, good. The axis should be, I think it should be the back line, yep, of that, yep, right here. And then and then flip it and change it to the variable. Change it to pound sign. Nope. I think you flipped it. Yeah, I'm not sure. Okay, then put it in tilt. This is tilt. And then I'm not sure if it's right or not. You need another angle because my eyes are turned inside out right now. Show us from the side. Is that doing the right thing? Yeah, that feels like it's doing the right thing. Click OK. Yeah, good. 5 degrees. That looks good. All right. And then we need now, this is the one where we need to do that trick where we had to put a line down the middle of the camera. Like we need to make a sketch and put a line like right down this thing from here.
You can do sketch.
Let's go into sketch, yep. What plane are we want to sketch on? This one. And then you can just draw a line from the midpoint of one to the midpoint of the other, the midpoint of the bottom to the midpoint of the top. There, good. Click and go, make sure you're there, good. Point to point, good. Exit the sketch. All right, very good. Okay, so what's the next thing we need to do? We still haven't finished the transform yet. We need to get the pan in there. How do we do that? That's another transform. One more transform. That's the reason we put this line here. What are we going to transform? Transform about a line, right? No, I'm sorry. Rotate. Sorry, not transform. Rotate the axis, and then you pick that line that you just drew. Yep. I would flip that one because it just feels better for it to rotate positively the other way. For me, there's a right-hand rule, and this feels better for positive. Yep. Okay, click OK. All right. So, all right, I think that's good. Why don't we have somebody else drive and build us up? How are we going to build up a crazy thing? You can do it your own way, or you can do it my way, the way I did it. Carolyn, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's do it. So tell me in words what your plan is for being able to get this to build up something from here to hold this part.
The loft tool.
Okay, you can use the loft tool. We could just do it in XY if you wanted to, right? You could just like say, I'm going to build a plane and build a thing in X and Y and then extrude that down and then build another thing. And you know what I'm saying? You could build it more traditionally if you wanted to, right? You could like build up to, you could take, I'm not in the drawing mode. So just because that's the loft is the way I did it last time, we don't have to do it that way. We could like make a thing here that is the thing that I'm going to bolt it down with. And then we could then like extrude up walls up to here. you know, that would be kind of like a V like this, you know, and then that would, you know, we could go exactly how high we did the Z over here. You know, we could extrude that up in Z, and then we could just make a plane that would just fill up this space here, right? You understand what I'm trying to say? Like, give me
Yeah.
a side view. That's another way. Like, you could do it your way. It doesn't have to be the way that I had done it. I'm just saying, you know, you can do it exactly the same way. You know, you could kind of build a thing here, give it some extra room, kind of split this, you know, and then do a crazy loft that goes from one place to the other if you want to. I mean, lofts are great for 3D printed things. They're, you know, if you're going to machine things, people are going to like really be unhappy with you. If you're going to be doing, like, if we're going to CNC something on our, you know, on our plotter, on our CNC router, we're probably not doing it with a loft. But you can do it with a loft for printing. It's super easy, and this is definitely would be something we'd print. So anyway, I can shut up, and you can just tell us what you've decided, and then let's implement whatever it is you've wanted to do.
Okay, I'll try the method you're talking about. So like, would I do like a
Okay.
sketch here and then like extrude it so that it touches that point?
I would, instead of touching that point, I would use the fact that we built it with a variable over here,
Okay.
and I would extrude it up just the exact same amount because I know where it is. It's kind of, that's, you
Can
know,
I just
that's
comment on something really quick?
sure.
So I see you're using that plate, but in most of our robots these days, we haven't been using those because we have the printed covers
Mhm.
for the encoders.
So I just
It's
wanted
the
to get
same
something.
footprint though, so it should be fine.
Yeah.
I just wanted to comment on that really quick.
In
And if
general, we're
that's the
not
case, we
using
may
that
want to,
plate.
yeah,
Yep.
if we do have that, we may want to have a hole for the encoder light, depending on how we connect the camera to that area.
Yes, I see what you're saying. Yes. But for right now, let's assume we're using this down the road. You're right. You should, if you could, do you have that CAD pulled up somewhere?
For
Silver?
my encoder mounts, I can get to them really quick.
Yeah, why don't you get to them, and then when you have it ready, we'll throw it over to you real quick, and then we can look at what we're talking about. But for right now, I would just do what you had said here, going back into Carolyn, and I just would make it big so that you could end up making a wall here. You know what I'm saying? That has some depth to it. So you want to have some screws. You want to have a flat plate where you can get some screws here that hold this thing down. And then but you still want some room to be able to, do you see what I'm lobbying for?
So make it like
Is
bigger outside of this.
just make it a little bit bigger. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Right.
So like a triangle or a square?
Um, uh, I mean, it doesn't think, I don't think you're going to get any extra strength from anything other than a triangle
I
because
got it up.
you're really only holding these things up. Let's take a second to throw it to Silver for a second. Could you stop sharing?
Yeah.
And then we'll be right back. Yep. What do you got, Silver? So that's that's what we normally use to hold our sensors. And so what I would be proposing is that we would build something that would go on top of that. This is actually a terrible, I mean, this is probably the worst place to put a camera because it would get hit with, there's just all kinds. But I just wanted to get the idea of, suppose you have some part that you need to build off of. How do you get the centers and all that to work? So, okay. So yeah, that's cool. So I think if you make something flat that has these same holes, Carolyn, I think it'll be fine. We could use it and put it on top of this thing. Yeah, again, it isn't a practical design. We're just trying to get the idea of what would we do. Okay, perfect. Thanks, Silver. All right, back to you, Carolyn. Okay. So I wouldn't actually draw. So the problem with you're going to use a polygon tool, but polygons have equal sides, and this doesn't look like we're going to want to use equal sides
So just use
to
the
me.
lines.
I think I would just use lines. Yes.
Okay. So like just this part or the actual whole thing?
So if it were me, I think I would draw some circles, and then I would make my lines tangent to the circles. You know, like I would just draw a circle here, a circle there, and a circle there. And then I would just make my lines tangent to, I'd make the circles all the same size. And then I would make my lines of my triangle tangent to those circles. But for me, it's always like now. So to get all those circles, you can just like do a click and drag and grab all of them at once. Yep, you got them. Good, good. And then hit E. You could just hit the E button. You could just hit the letter E and it would have worked. You didn't have to go
Okay.
up and touch it. Okay, so now you got it. All right, you could put a dimension on it, but actually grab them all again and make them all construction. Perfect. All right, and now I would draw triangles around that and then make them tangent. And yeah, you don't want it, yeah, you want to be, when you're drawing, when you're drawing, you don't have to be that accurate, right? You just have to be kind of generally like in the right area. You don't need to think too hard, because your constraints are going to be the things that are going to make it work for you. So now you can hit the T button, or you could go up and hit the icon. Right, and then just go line by line, circle and line. Yep. Good. Let's put a dimension on this on the circle, so they're not going to be continually changing shape on us.
What
I don't
should
know.
be?
It's ½ inch feels good to me. 0.5 looks about right. I mean, this is all just feel. We're not really. There's nothing magic about it. And then back to tangent mode, right? Okay. What else do we have to do?
Um,
Left. No, you've already got that one. Okay, looks good. All right. So actually, I said ½ inch, but I didn't mean it. Can you go back? Because the thing is, we're going to have a wall that's going to be maybe 1/8 of an inch thick wall, and we want to have a ½ inch clear for our screw. So we really want that to be like 0.75. Yeah, that's better. Okay, cool. And now we can
then
extrude that. Yep. So you want to, instead of face of sketch, you want to grab the whole sketch. Yep, that looks good. And oh, how far do we want to go? We want to go #Z. #Z, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, Z cam. Yeah, which turns out to be 1 inch, but even if it wasn't, so now, yeah, actually, no, sorry. To start with, we only want like an 1/8 inch. Sorry, we want 1/8 inch. Sorry, I forgot. An 1/8 inch feels just like a nice wall thickness. Cool. Yep. And now what we want to do is we want to make an additional sketch that's just this outside, that's like an 1/8 inch from here. So in order to do that, we need a new sketch. Sketch on that wall, right? Sketch on that plane. And then I would use the this feature and grab the two, actually I would grab the whole plane. Click on that feature and just grab the whole plane. And then I would use this offset feature here and just grab those two walls. Yep, one wall and then the other wall. You want this wall over here. Okay, and then you want it to be on the inside, not the outside. Good. And so we want it to be an 1/8 inch thick again. Oh, sorry, we're still in the drawing in the, yeah, you gotta undo that last thing. Just Control Z. Yep. Control Z. Again. There. Okay, that's good. So now we need to like get rid of these things here using the cutting tool. And you can pick them individually, or you can just like drag a line through them. Yep. Oh, sorry. Anything you drag a line through disappears. So you didn't, oh, shoot. Undo, undo, undo. Clear, quick, help. Help me. Again, undo. All right. Yeah, so you need just that one to disappear. Somehow we, what's wrong here? Can you make the holder disappear? Or no, make, oh, shoot. Our extrude, we needed to make it a new part. This extrude, we need to edit this part, this extrude real quick. Edit that
I think we're
extrude.
in it right now.
No, you have to exit the sketch for a second, and then edit the extrude, and make it be new instead of add. Yes. Yes. So I'm not worried about the name being wrong right now. The name is is part 3, but eventually we're going to merge it with this that already has a good name. So, all right. So did we lose our, oh, we lost our sketch. Shoot. I didn't mean to have you lose your sketch, but we can do it over again. The thing about CAD is the second time is always faster. So, all right.
So this, and then
Grab that plane. Yes, that's good. Then, those two, yep, good and good. Drag it in, drop it, put in 1/8. Oh shoot, it did it again. So sorry, but it is somehow assuming, it's somehow not giving you a chance to enter the number. Hit Control Z right now. No, did that not work?
What number do you want it to enter? It's setting you to enter the number right now. That's why it's highlighted. So type in like 0.25 or negative 0.25.
No, I don't think so. Go
Try
ahead,
it.
put in 0.25. Yep. So how do we get the second wall? See, you've got some other things. So that the thing it just gave you that
you
it
have
was
to
asking for
select
that one.
the.
So hit Control Z. Let's get out of this mode. First of all, that's the thing. I don't like this one is sticky. There. All right. Now we can edit this guy here to be the 1/8, 0.125.
Just so you know,
Or
you didn't
1/8.
select all 3 walls. You only have the 2 of them.
That's what we don't. That's what we wanted. All right.
Okay.
And now we're gonna use the cut here, and we're going to cut that one. Going to cut that one, and then we can also cut the one here. Good. All right. And now when we do the extrude, we'll have a nice wall that will match up everything we want it to match up. Yeah. And now we want this one to be, we want it to go up by the Z amount that we want, that we liked. Yep. Click OK. And now, if I were doing this, what I would do is I would edit on, what's the easiest way to do this one? I think the easiest way to do this one is to do a sketch on this plane here and project. Yeah. And then I would like go from, I would use this wall, this wall, this wall, this wall, and then I would make a line. I would project the bottom. Actually, to start off, I would clear everything, clear all, Joe. All right. Project onto, use this guy and project on, actually use this one, but make it that mode. And then get the bottom of this part. Look at the bottom of that part. And touch that wall right there. Good. Click OK. Did we get the whole bottom? I want to see all of the planes of the bottom.
Like this right here.
No. I'm sorry. That not the back. That I'm thinking of as the back. This is the surface I want you to grab. No, we're
wait,
sketching.
hang on.
No. The wall we're sketching on is the same plane as the top of the V.
Oh,
The
okay.
top of this V. That's the plane we're sketching on. But I want you to project the bottom of that thing. Yes, project that. Good. All right. So now let's actually get rid of all of the parts now. Get rid of this part because it's just making everything confusing. So turn off the holder. Make it disappear. Good. And so now what I think I would do, clear all, is I think I would make a sketch that would go from, oh, I'm in the wrong line. I would go from here to that. Sorry, I'm a terrible drawer, but I would just fill in, I would fill in all of this from here to here to there. Like it would be all of this in here. So I would turn this line, let me clear all. I would turn this line here into a solid line, just that one line. Well, right now you're drawing in the wrong mode. Yep, go from there to there to there. Sure, and then sure, and then go to that corner there, and then I think I would just do the word use here, and use the other lines. So stop, break the string, get out of that mode. Use this feature here. And not as a construction line, but as a real line. And then grab that line, yes, good. And grab that one, yes. Not the center, but the line. Yep, and then this one, good. And this one down here, perfect. Make sure you don't grab the center, you gotta grab the line, good. And that should be a complete circle. Is that not a complete circle? A complete setup? Can I extrude that or not? Should I do the sketch? Something isn't right. Like what's this line and this line? Are they actual solids? No, they're not solids. So turn them solid. Okay, good. All right. So now you can do the extrude, and now you want to do an add. And you want to make it be the holder and part 3. And part 3. And you want to have it be only go like 1/8 of an inch. And then make your holder so you can see it. We're close, but we went the wrong way. We extruded the wrong way. So edit the extrude and flip the direction. Yeah, good. All right. That's pretty good. I mean, it's got some defects to it, right? It's not perfect because the pan and the tilt, didn't really line things up, but this would work, I think, acceptably. And if you go in and modify and make this one like, 1.25, it's live. Right? Nothing, I mean, it doesn't look lovely, but it doesn't break. Okay? So questions from the audience? Anyone?
Not really.
Okay. So this is so we did two. This is how you could possibly, set this up. So, it's if we did ever need a generic version of this folder that we would like use from year to year, where we would, all we have to do is just change the pan and the tilt angle and the X and the Y and the Z, and it would just move into a different location and we could print it. So, all right. How are we doing on time? Oh, we're exactly at the time. So I'm going to hit stop unless there are any questions that you think are of general interest. Going once, going twice, hit stop.